Hi, this is Savannarra Saron, also known as Stevenson, and this is my final research project oral history video presentation. These are the table of contents. One of them is biographical information, migration and settlement, race, ethnic relations, identity and future, reflection and conclusion. These are all the main points I'll be talking about for my interviewees. Um, Biographical information. Uh, this is Sam Trung. She is 61 years old. This is my friend's mother that I have met, my very close friend. She was born in Kampong Thom in Cambodia, and she was born on April 3rd, 1962. Her educational background was that she only went up to kindergarten in Cambodia, unfortunately, because she was Uh, it was because of the war that she was in that disabled her from progressing towards other grades. And her occupation currently is being a babysitter in a multi-generational family household, meaning that she takes care of her grandchildren and many other generations that comes within her household. Um, Her mother is Sang and her father is Dam. Their last names are unknown because she was so little at the time that she didn't know like what her last names were. But this was the only info she was given, uh, due to the circumstances of the war. Her parents were farmers in Cambodia, and their educational background's unknown again due to the Vietnam War. Mrs. Chung has two brothers and three sisters. One of her brothers is in San Jose currently, and she has another sister in Cambodia that she talks to from time to time. And her other siblings have passed away, unfortunately. She told me in Cambodia it was tough growing up because she was in the Civil War, the Cambodian Civil War, and it was corrupted, had a lot of communists, and she witnessed lots of deaths and starved. Uh, there was no food to eat mostly. Um, in these conditions, it was harsh for her. Um, with the fact that the war was going on, she had little to nothing from the start. Migration and settlement. Uh, Mrs. Chung chose to uh, she stayed in a refugees camp named Khao Dang in Thailand for 2 to 3 years. That's where her brother her brother first migrated to America, and then he sponsored her, Mrs. Chung, and they traveled both to America by plane. Um, sh Mrs. Chung immigrated to the United States of America in 1991, along with her family. Her brother, her now widowed husband, along with her three daughters, they all came to America due to the war, the Vietnam War, and also known as the Cambodian Civil War. Uh, During the trip, everyone was healthy. They transported by plane, and they first arrived in America in Dallas, Texas, and was given a rented home for 2 to 3 years. During this time, when they were in America, her sponsor, the government, provided a sum of money for her to live in so that they would be financially stable a little bit. They were still in low income, but they were surviving. Um, in this community, her in Texas, Dallas, Texas, her neighbors were so she said that it was a very good community and she had no problems living in. Uh, she was unemployed at the time. She didn't have a job. Uh, and she didn't live close with any other family members. Race, ethnic relations, identity, and the future. Um, Mrs. Chung is referred to as a Vietnamese, Cambodian, American Buddhist. I believe that one of her parents is Vietnamese, half Vietnamese, or full Vietnamese actually, and the other is Cambodian, and where she is currently half Vietnamese and half Cambodian American. During her time in Dallas, Texas, she had no experience of racism or prejudice. She got along with many people, such as Vietnamese, Laos, Cambodian Americans, throughout her stay in Dallas, Texas. Mrs. Chung's thought of America is that she's happy to have a great life and a great place to live in, where she formed an even bigger intergenerational gap family and have peace in life. She had she had even three more kids with gave her a chance an opportunity to have grandchildren throughout her life. And one of those grandchildren actually um made it in time where she became a great grandma. Um, and this my next interviewee is along the wind, my close friend's father. Um, he was he was born in Phnom Penh in Cambodia also. He was born on October 15th, 1967. Uh, in his educational background, he had some college. Um, his occupation currently is a technician. He has a mother named M and a father. He didn't know his father. Son. Uh, his mother M sold groceries in Cambodia, as far as I know. Um, Mr. Nguyen said that living in Cambodia was tough and that the country was corrupted and in a civil war at the time. Lots of communists were there during his time in Cambodia. He experienced lots of killings, starvation, and in 1979 he escaped to the Thailand border in the Khao Dang camps by foot, the refugee camps by foot, along with his mother and brother. Um, migration and settlement. He stayed at Khao Dang, a refugee camp in Thailand for 1.5 years. Um, he came to America for a better life and to escape the war, to have freedom in a country. During his time in the refugee camp, he got sponsored by the church pastor community. They sponsored him and his mother and his brother to uh tr to be transported all the way to America. Um, I believe that the sponsor was called the Christian Community American Government. They traveled to America all together. And that's where they first arrived in Lincoln, Nebraska. Um, when they first arrived, they were given a rented house along with food stamps from the Christian Community Government. They were given these food stamps for a short amount of time. Well, until he was able to get a job, or it was actually 5 years. That was actually a very long time, where he first Mr. Nguyen got his first job at a school because he was too young at the time, 14 years old. He had to wait till he was old enough to start working, where he got his first job at a school. Race, ethnic relations, identity, and future. Um, Mr. Nguyen thinks he is referred to as a Vietnamese Cambodian American also, Vietnamese Cambodian American Buddhist. He said he had no experience of discrimination during his time in Lincoln, Nebraska. He uh he was he said he was grateful to be in America where you guys first summer job at school, and eventually later on he went to college to study business, and from being from being a Christian, a part of the Christian community, he changed his religion back to Buddhism because that's where his family's tradition was. It was a part of his religion or tradition to become a Buddhist. It was a generational tradition. Uh, when he was in college, at one point he was in a displacement where he kept changing his majors in college, even such as ethnic studies, but followed through in business and became a businessman. Fortunately, he had his first child and dropped out. Um, in his experience in Lincoln, Nebraska, he said, with all the other ethnicities there are, such as African Americans and Mexican Americans, he said he saw them as the same, and there was no other ethnicity, and that they were bonded as humans altogether. He got along with many other Asian Americans also, with kindness, honesty, and good deeds. Um, when he first thought of America, that he thought of it as about being a good country from the start, and that his opinion never changed throughout his life, and that it was a wonderful place to be in. Um, so to wrap it up, their versions of a happy life that they said was to for their dreams and visions for the future was to be happy with their family and have peace in life. Where they're just grateful. They just want to have a good life with their family and have peace. Thank you for this presentation.